session till now. Maybe I'll repeat the gist or summary of the session for the another candidate who is supposed to attend an interview now. Okay, fine. But please remember to make me remember about this recording of sessions. And that's about the string traversal. I was just saying that string traversal is going to be like this: start, stop, and step. So when you say start of a string, it is always inclusive. When I say stop of a string, it is always exclusive. You'll get this one index of a string included. So that's how you got A. And when you got this 4 index, it is exclusive. 4 index of HARRY is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is nothing but Y. Y is always exclusive. And when I say 1, step is 1, it means exclude everything. When I say 2, step is 2, it means alternative printing. It means print the first one and step back to the second one. In the sense, exclude A and then step back to the second one, which is R, and again step back to the second one. I mean, next to the next, which is second. For this R, correlative. It's a correlatively the second one. That's how it works. And A3 in the sense, the first one. After that, skip 2, go back to the third one. So that's how it worked. And string traversal is always from left to right. In the sense, sorry, you have to listen it again just for the recording purpose. So when I say this, I'm starting the string from -1 till -4. In the sense, -1 in the sense Y, -4 in the sense -1, -2, -3, -4, which is A. It is from left to right. Sorry, right to left. So string traversal is always from left to right. It will not work for right to left. So you always need to give an index which is start in the sense it should be left, stop in the sense it should be right to the start, so that it can start from somewhere and go only in the right direction. So when I say that I gave -2, it means I'm starting here R. The only thing I can give is -1 to make it work. Or I can also give this just to make sure everything is included, right? And this one is like this now. That's about start, stop, and step operations. And about string formatting we discussed. I'll share you the PPT. It will be self-explanatory. About string, it is hard enough. ID of A is something a bit weird, you see, right? Because it's alphanumeric, unlike yesterday. I mean, the last session. When I say type of A, it is type is string, but when I open this one, I'll declare the same string here, and I'll say type of A. It says class string. It says type string. And when I say type of, it still says type of type. So when I say help of type, it now gives me a class of it. We discussed it earlier, right? So when I say help of type here, same, it gives the class almost the same thing, whatever you're saying here. But the thing is, whatever you have to understand here is, this is implemented as a class directly, but this is an inherited one. This is not a complete class when we speak about here. So in 3-point version of Python, everything is an object purely, and the architecture is changed, drastically modified. And one other simple difference Yep, so his print works like this. Print doesn't work like this. It says parenthesis is missing. And as we have discussed about string manipulation, I mean this start stop and step and this string formatting, better we can go to these methods. So capitalize is a method where it capitalizes in a paragraph pattern. So only if the first character will be capitalized. And if I try to when we now capitalized it, right? So when we try to print it out, still you'll get the same string without the capitalization occurring. So it's a temporary thing where you can where you can use it just in that instance. But if you want to use the same thing in another instance as well as a variable, then you need to assign it as a dot capitalize, I mean, and then b will be like this. This is what I need to do. And there is something called upper. Again, a is not modified. It's again a temporary thing. It makes everything as an uppercase. I need to run this PPT to make sure. Yeah, I already missed it, I guess. That's about the two basic operations of string. We'll come back to these string operations in a couple of minutes now. There is something called immutable and mutable data types. Maybe you can understand it well if I give you a scenario or a diagram, maybe.
Oh, yeah, one can be changed or modified, another one cannot be modified.
In the
Like
sense,
lists and tuples, right? The
yeah,
tuples we can
exactly.
modify once we create, but least we can.
Why is that?
Why? Why I don't? That's how Python works. I don't know.
No. Actually, the point in here in asking this question is it's a basic interview question again. I hope
Mm-hmm.
you are preparing all the interview questions.
I
You
mean,
can make
difference
one.
of least and tuples is the common questions I think for interview. But I don't know why tuples cannot be changed. I mean, the reason for that.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason is because they are mutable. I mean, they are immutable. They cannot be
That's
changed.
what I mean. Is there any other reason than that? I mean, that's how it is programmed, right?
No,
Once we
the
create
question is why we cannot change the immutable data type and
a,
why can we change mutable data type. So that's what this diagram is all about, whatever we
okay.
discussed earlier. So for an immutable data type, it's an object that is already assigned in this heap. We are just referring that object to this your variables to these objects. But if you say a is equal to 2, this one we did it, I think so. Yep. A is equal to some 2. If you say about id of 2, it will be something where if b is equal to 2, id remains same, right? But for list, if you append or change the list again, this phenomena may not or may not be. It depends on the space that you have. So that's a dynamic thing. So that's really not constant because there are 10 elements in a list. Now you append some 20 elements. That very same ID cannot accommodate it, right? So for example, so this is the ID. So it again depends entirely on the space. For this, we can accommodate in here. But if you exceed some range of values, your ID will change for sure. So that's how frame implementation occurs. That's why immutable data types and mutable data types are both created. for different purposes. So basically speaking, there are few properties that they assign. So if you have some 100 elements with you,
Mm-hmm.
you are not allowed, I mean, you know that very surely that they are static, they're not prone to a change. Then do use this immutable data type like tuple, so that the traversing between your elements is easier. But if your 100 elements are prone to change, a few of them, at least one of them, then use this mutable data type where you have certain other properties.
Okay, so in the tuples, if
Mhm.
we like, it doesn't matter how many like number of elements we insert, the ID will always be same, right?
Yes.
It will not change.
You need to correct your question. So if I declare a tuple, it will get an ID assigned to it. Then
Yes,
what?
and that we cannot change anyway.
We cannot change any elements in it.
We
So
cannot, yeah, we cannot append a tuple as well.
yeah,
So
so the ID remains
add
same.
or yeah, yeah.
So that's about mutable and immutable things. So integer, string, tuple, frozen set. These are immutable. The rest are mutable when it comes to Python. Uh, Again, going back to the previous question, I mean last session's question. Are you having this document ready? The interview questions? Are you filling it? Or do you have the habit of doing it? If not, at least fill it in your notepad and append it there. So it will be a reference for the rest of the folks in the session.
What could be any like what are the questions may come from string formatting? Like what kind of interview questions might appear?
In string formatting,
Mm-hmm.
can you repeat the question again?
I mean, yeah, under the string formatting, that whole part, what kind of interview questions may come?
Yeah. The first question they may ask now is, what is f string? What is f string? This is for knowing clearly whether you are an experienced guy or not. So f string is something which is available newly in the market. It is available only from 3.6 versions of Python.
Okay.
So that was one basic question, and the other one is, how do you format your string if your string is from a list, from a tuple, from another data structure like that? And
Sorry, what's the question?
if you're how do you format a string if you are if your variables are from different data structures, like from a list? They'll ask in this descriptive way. You're having a list, you need to use the elements of the list as a variables.
Mhm.
So we discussed that, right? So just go back
Yeah,
there.
sometimes like I have printed some, like I have done some project work where we had to print like a table structured. Uh, so there we really need the string concept, like the formatting concept a lot.
Yeah.
Like with the there is an up arrow and then to find it the middle positions. So it there is actually a lot of formattings on the string, different
Oh
types.
yeah, you're into analytics now already.
And I have done those like
Okay, okay, okay.
printing it as a table format, proper table format as well, like printing three columns accordingly. So we have to put the print and the the data, the objects in certain way so that they prints in a proper column. It starts in a particular column and ends in somewhere, and the next column starts in a particular number of the cell and ends in particular one. So I have done that a lot actually, but now I
Okay.
forgot exactly what I did. But I know there's an up arrow and S. S is for string definitely. So for example, I think if we do 10, then up arrow, and then left arrow and the right arrow also, it depends the how many I think cells we can leave from the beginning and then start the column, like something like that.
Do you have the scripts now?
No, I don't. I think I have all the programs saved, so I might have it.
Okay, you can also demonstrate the others about this one day. But about string
I can
formatting, yeah,
share the programs what I have done if I still have it, but I have to just look for it.
yeah. One day you can have a session of demonstration of this, so that it will be helpful for the others also. But typically, what they use is what is f string, how do you implement it, what is this? If you want to use string formatting without format, how do you do that, and all stuff like that. You can make those questions. And string formatting with the data structures that we have discussed already. And one other thing is, just a second. Yep. There is a old traditional way of doing string formatting. This is some C language kind. Sorry, C language. We used to see this percentile D and percentile S, right?
Yeah,
So
percentage. Yeah,
like that, we can do it in Python as well. But this one, nobody is using it now. This is how we skip this format, dot format of something like that if we want to skip. Uh, that's about string formatting interview questions. And where are we left with? Yep. Mutability and immutability you understood, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Some other few famous string objects or functionalities that you need to know, or the attributes and magic methods, whatever we're speaking about is. I just gathered the regularly used ones. So Python is nothing but working with attributes, working with default inbuilt functions. So what there actually is, um, learning how a string works, like string formatting and start step, and then implementing, knowing your programming logic. The third one is knowing about these attributes. If you know this, you're an expert in Python. We are going to discuss only few attributes in those now. So for example, this is like extracting each character using an array. These things we have already seen. And then find is something used to find this particular character. It returns the index. In the 15th index you found that, like that. I mean at the starting index where you find this particular pattern. And if you have a string which doesn't have this pattern, let's say dot is not there, dot is there, I think so, right? So if it is not there, it will just return -1. And find is having another argument that can be given inside it. So let's say so the substring that you can give is I, which is not present there. If I say 10, or maybe, yeah, I, sorry, it returns -1 because it's not there. But if I print look for L, it is there. L at -1, let us say. So in the -1 index, if L is there or not. It's just a kind of a search. So for searching in a very particular index, you can use this find operation. And split is used to, we already discussed, I believe so. So here's nothing but hello world, a dot split using this operator. So it converts the list according to the separator. I mean, it converts the string according to the separator into the group of elements in a list. That's what it is all about. Then you have another search operation here, like if br in brother, then it just meets the condition, but we did not enter into the conditionals yet. And R strip, L strip is used to eliminate separate characters. Let's say you want to eliminate new lines in your document, then you can use this R strip, in the sense rightmost new lines in your lines. Each line may contain slash n there. It's a encoding stuff, where if you get files from Unix to Windows like that, some OS or encoding issues, in that case you can just use this R strip and L strip right away. And starts with and ends with, which are some two other basic things that are commonly handy. Yep, we discussed about this special character, escape character, right? So if you want to print something like yours faithfully, let's say, it doesn't get printed like this because it searches for, sorry, it searches for the start of your first string in single quote and the end of the single quote, which is this. But unfortunately, this is part of our string. So what you need to do is use an escape character to print it. But if your path is having, I mean, if your data is again having an escape character, then what you need to do is, if this is what you wanted to print, so you need to do this. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you want to escape its functionality, you need to use this one again. And this happens, we use it usually when we are declaring paths as a variable, like that. And that is basic intro on string operations. If we add, if we go back to this magic methods of string, the value will be, so this is a basic string concatenation. And if I use the same on, it says string and integer cannot be concatenated. That's why we had to do this typecasting into a string when we are doing it using I mean in the intro of string formatting just few minutes back we discussed, right? So that's about that. We cannot add a string and an integer. And there's something called contains. So let me just set this one. If it contains h, it returns true. It's a boolean operator. We say boolean in the sense it will either return true or false. That's it. So basically we use this in conditionals. And this is basically nothing but if print hello world, right? If h in a print true. So this one is nothing but which is equal to this one, but this is an optimized one when it comes to huge data. And one other magic method we can use is del attribute. So del attribute is belonging to oops, not here. So This is a del attribute in the sense delete one of the attributes for this class called A. But this doesn't have any significance to this string now because this is an inbuilt class and we cannot alter this. If you define your own class, then you can perform that. And if you use this format, this format specification, let's say, I never used format much too often, but let's see. Yep. Just check it over. Maybe the format changes, the encoding format, I think something like that. But string, when it comes to magic methods in string, this is just greater than or equal to, that's what we use. But we typically use for string of 1 greater than or equal to string of 2, like that data manipulations. If we ever want to do, we'll use that. But in here, it just says that our A, which is having length hello world, is greater than A. Just a second. Um, excuse me, I just need to take this call for a few seconds. Uh, sorry about that. We are discussing about those magic methods which we don't regularly or frequently use. And if you are good with this, we can carry forward to lists. I need to press on these data types and data structures more because the more you understand this, the more you can concentrate on the rest of the things. So this will be a bit slow till you are done with dictionaries, lists, tuples, dictionaries, sets. This will be a bit slower than expected, but then we'll catch up the speed. I think that will do for this session. Any doubts?
No.
Yep. If you are good with this, we can just log off for now. We'll meet you tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.